All right.
It's the Big Fat American Radio Show. I'm Zach Martin with very special guest today. It's all about Broadway. The one thing that I love more so than anybody else, and me being a legendary hard rock disc jockey, people are always surprised to find out how much I love Broadway, how much I go to see Broadway shows, and how I always try to get in the front row. If I can't get in the front row, I'm kind of like, nah, I don't know if I want to go. But there are some Broadway shows I haven't seen because the front row tickets are way too expensive. So I just passed on them. But we don't have to talk about that. We're with Dale Badway.
Yes.
And Mauricio Martinez. Did I get it?
Go.
I got that? You mean I got that?
Do it again.
Oh, my gosh. Mauricio Martinez.
Yes, that's
Do it
awesome.
again.
Mauricio Martinez.
It's good.
Say
You
my
know,
name.
guys-
Call me by my name.
So Dale, you've done this arena kind of announcing. I
Yes.
tried out to be the Devils announcer for the hockey, and even though I speak Russian, the last names are freaking me out. I'm like, you know what? Never mind.
Well, that's why you got to
can't
slow
do it.
down. You can't keep
Yeah.
rushing.
Is that what the? see, I'm in.
A good announcer.
This is not going to go well for me because Dale's like.
I'll
quicker
defend
than
you.
I
Don't
am.
worry.
All
I'll
right,
be your
Martinez.
attorney.
All right,
I'll
that's good.
interview.
We're at the big fat what?
Oh, it's the Big Fat American Rock Show on the
Oh,
Big
okay,
Fat
that's
American
why I'm
Radio
Big
Network.
I gained a
Fat
little weight
American
lately.
And ever
rock show.
Well,
El Gran Show Gordo de Rock. That would be in
Dos
Spanish.
Dos Equis.
I just instant translated.
Oh, good.
Who needs Google?
You don't
Right?
need Google.
Yeah.
That's great.
So now this show is international.
Oh,
now.
it's
Cool.
yeah.
So, yeah.
You know what? I was listening to it in Germany when I was there a couple weeks ago. It's amazing how far you can get with technology, and if you just use the right kind of social media game plan, you're unstoppable.
That's,
and
that's like my dating life.
Are you unstoppable, Dale?
Well,
Dale's well. Listen,
Unstoppable actually is one of the songs of that great Broadway musical hit Tootsie.
okay, yeah,
which I
So
love.
thank you for bringing that up.
we can
Yes.
get to Tootsie in a second, and we can talk about what
Why
you're
did you
doing here.
Why did you say Tootsie and look at me?
No, I was just looking at it.
You want me to put on some makeup and wear
Well,
high heels?
No.
Santino's great, though.
Okay,
so.
that's great. All right, so before we get to that, Dale is legendary for his ability to sing the national anthem. So everybody that's listening right now is going to stand up, no matter what they're doing. It could cause some accidents. And Dale, at least do one verse of the Star Spangled
I
Banner.
think there is only one. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does the hat star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Wow!
Play ball!
That is the best rendition I've ever heard
Well,
in my
thank
life.
you.
This is why
That was good.
This is why Broadway is so important to our culture. We have to do what we must do to support it, as
Yeah.
well as the actors.
Yes.
But before we talk about specifics about your career, Mauricio Martinez and Dale Badway, and what you're working on now, let's talk about the Leukemia and Lymphoma
Yes.
Foundation and the work that you're doing with Jane Elissa, which I got the last name right.
Yes.
She's marvelous.
She's
Jane
marvelous.
Elissa.
The artwork is just amazing, just one masterpiece after another. So, gentlemen, tell us what you're doing.
Well, I was lucky enough, and I say lucky enough because it was lucky to come out of the stage door of the show that I did a couple of years ago, my Broadway debut, On Your Feet, the Gloria and Emilio Estefan story, where I played Emilio Estefan, and I was walking outside the stage door, and there's this lady there with red hair with a bunch of merchandise waiting for me.
She was selling her wares on Broadway.
And I saw the collages, and I recognized some stuff because I've seen it in stores, and she came up to me. She says now that she was very nervous, that she never does this. And
that's what they all say.
She came up to me.
Dale, you're a bad boy.
I'm a bad way on Broadway.
She came up to me and said, hi, my name is Jane Elissa. I have this foundation. And as soon as she said the word leukemia,
okay,
something just hit a chord inside of me. I'm a 4-time cancer survivor. So,
oh my gosh.
So yeah,
God bless you.
Thank you.
Love you. Yes.
God does bless me.
Yes, He does.
So I said, what do you need? How can I help? And she said, would you like to come perform and be our shining star this year, which is an award that somebody on Broadway who's been playing that year in the season gets awarded.
They get awarded because their performance is outstanding.
They get awarded because
you.
the performance is outstanding.
On
She
and
said
off
it.
the
I
stage.
did it.
As a person.
Dale again.
So I said yes, but I'm going away on tour. So how do we do this? So she got me. I flew. I don't even know where I was. I was somewhere in North Carolina or something. And I had to fly on my day off on Monday. I had to fly from North Carolina into New York, did sound check, that then performed, sang a couple of songs with my band. I have a show that I do, a cabaret show, and I got awarded. And we raised money for this beautiful foundation that Jane Elissa has, which helps a lot with leukemia and does beautiful work for cancer patients, for research. They just help
Jane,
me. Yeah,
come
take
on
it away.
over to
Leandro
the microphone.
is the name
Ladies and
of
gentlemen,
an amazing
Jane Elissa.
man.
So I'm
Ladies and gentlemen,
sneaking in.
Jane Elissa.
Just for a quickie. I'm a quickie. So
I told you she'd walk
I'm a
in.
very quick person. So anyway, we have this endowment fund that we've had for many years at the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. But we've also given money to Broadway Cares and different other charities that relate to cancer. But this particular year, we gave $60,000, all raised, little people, just, money here and there from our benefits. And we gave it to research in lymphoma at Cornell Weill, with lymphoma in dogs. Now the dogs are not being given the virus. They already have lymphoma, and they are being cured. And because they are being cured, that same cure is now being tried out on adults, and it is working.
That's fantastic.
So it was amazing. And Leandro is our researcher, and I brought, there's no
Where's
pictures.
he from?
But he's from, I think it's Argentina. I don't remember exactly.
Don't cry for me.
The Argentina.
I think so. I'm
Dale
not sure.
wanted to sing it. I saw it in his face.
Actually-
I saw it in his eyes. He wanted to break out into song.
And then I end up singing it.
and
Go
you sang
figure.
it too. So we ended up, I just wanted to bring people who had dogs to meet him because I wanted to be sure that it was, not hurting the dogs, the research. So I brought Deborah Rosensack, Travis Nesbitt from the Boy Band Project, and myself, and he took us on a lab tour, which was amazing. And the next thing is, hopefully he'll come to the benefit, and I want to introduce him to everybody, including Mauricio, because they both speak Spanish.
Mauricio Martinez.
Never mind. So thank you so much. And I cornered Mauricio and stole him off that line.
Jane, before you go, talk a little bit about your hats. What you do with the hats.
the hats. Okay, so we do make pretty amazing hats that are very special. They are Broadway related, or they're Victorian or fun or theme related. There's also sports. We do a lot of hats. We sell lots of them, and it's called Hats for Health. And we give a percentage off of every hat, actually off of everything I make, but the hats are very important. And I also donate a lot of the hats to sick patients and things like that. I'm actually teaching leukemia and cancer patients to make their own hats and things. And again, it's a very special project for me.
And also, I'd like you to tell everybody the name of your book.
Okay, the book is Diary of a Lollipop in a Peanut Factory, and it's all about the journey I took when my mother was diagnosed with leukemia and how my life changed by volunteering. And I wrote the book so that other people could read my story and also volunteer, because I thought I got way more back than I gave.
Oh,
and people may
absolutely.
argue, but I feel that way. It changed my life. And if you buy it through me, Jane at JaneAlyssa.com, the money goes to Leukemia and Cancer Research.
That's fantastic, including the hats, and then
Yeah,
they
the
can
hats
also
and the
get your other
bags
art
and
pieces.
Art pieces, etc.
Which I have to tell you, I saw you at Bryant Park. That was amazing. You were in the best spot
I was
by
in
the
a
way.
very good
you know,
spot.
right over there in
Except
41st,
in the wind
I
tunnel.
think.
And when the bat came into the booth.
Oh, well, bats are fun. you could decorate bats. You can
Oh,
paint them
my
all different kinds of
God.
colors.
People
They glow in
ran
the
out of
dark.
my
I think it was a
booth.
promotion for Bat Out of Hell, which is coming to Broadway.
Yeah. Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes,
It
Bat
was
Out of
over in
Hell
the
is
West
coming.
End.
That's amazing.
Anyway, so yes, I did have a great booth. I actually did sell some art at the show, and I sold lots of hats and bags and jackets. Oh my God, I do the New York City jacket.
The New York City
Yes.
jackets are amazing, and I
With
just want
Broadway.
to take the opportunity to thank you for all you do, because you give a lot of yourself, and it's never been from a selfish point of view. We all go through struggles, but you've never let that stop you from making it your job to help make lives around you better, and that's a beautiful thing. It's a good thing, and it's an honorable thing.
It's a very, sometimes it's hard. When
Yeah.
you're going through difficulties, it becomes harder, but you have to sort of go through it and do the best you can, because when you're helping other people, to me, is a gift.
Right. And when you do help other people, instead of it's easy to get in one of those situations. This is a teaching moment, Dale and Mauricio.
Mm-hmm.
If someone is feeling really trapped, they're depressed over their situation, maybe they're in Broadway, maybe they're a disc jockey, maybe they're an artist, maybe they're a musician, and they just don't feel like their career is going anywhere, or they've been dealt a bad deck of cards, or whatever the expression, bad hand of cards. This is my thing, and I'll tell anybody, you're better off just getting up and doing something and trying to help somebody that's less fortunate, number one. Number two, focus on who you are and not what you do.
Yes.
Because if you understand who you are, what you do does not matter, because you bring who you are, whatever you're doing, and wherever you are. So there's that. And then every once in a while, go up to somebody who it looks like they're alone and just say hi, and then engage in a conversation and learn about them and hear their story. And then all of a sudden, you'll find your life changing for better ways. So, I just want to, take this moment, make it a teaching moment. People do listen. A lot of times people are on social media and they look at the lives of others, specifically the lives of famous people, and they think that their life should be like that, or the lives of their friends, and they're always taking these great pictures in these great locations, having a great time. Nobody ever puts up, except for me, because it's funny, when they're having a really bad time and things are. Yes,
You
it's
should
funnier.
definitely, and inspire people.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
I
the
mean,
point.
as to how
Yeah.
to overcome
How to overcome.
obstacles. And,
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
Yeah, so it's all good stuff, and then we're going to continue this discussion many times in the future. But thank you again. What is your website? One more time, JaneAlyssa.com.
To the microphone, to the microphone.
JaneAlyssa.com.
JaneAlyssa.com or hatsforhealth.com.
That's fantastic. And I'm going to tell you, and you guys know this, you've seen her work. It's just amazing.
Great.
Do you have any of it in your house? I do.
Of course.
Yes.
I do. I had
My
it in my
daughter-
dressing room all over tour, all across America.
That's
I traveled with one of her posters, and I was right in the center. And my mother framed it, and she has it.
Oh, that's
home in
wonderful.
Mexico.
All right.
So-
And she has the piano.
Here she comes again.
Right. No, I have to
What?
She's
tell you
stealing
something.
our
Yeah,
thunder.
Mauricio.
She's
gotta say
No,
one
no,
more.
no.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, so this is something that Mauricio had told me, and I didn't know. Both Mauricio's mother and sister are artists. So now, and they're different artists than what I do. So my goal now, and I'm going to get you to help me.
Yeah, we could
is
do
to
that.
find a gallery that'll have Mauricio's mother,
Yes.
Yes.
his sister, and me
Yes.
in the gallery
Yeah.
and do a show.
Okay, I have an idea for that. You
Okay,
guys
good.
ready for this?
I love it.
Because since and I'm putting it all together.
Good.
There's a lot of people throughout the United States. I did the numbers, 1 in 59. If you go 1 divided by 59, multiply that by 300 million people, you get roughly 5.8 million people that are living on the spectrum. And what I mean by living on the spectrum, that is living with autism.
Yes.
And then you have the primary caregivers. Then 19% of our population is disabled. That's roughly 57 million. So if you look at it in an exponential, an exponential way, you're talking about over 100 million people are affected by some sort of disability or illness, and their families are also involved in that. So it becomes a community affair. I've noticed that there's very few programs that are out there to support people living on the spectrum. So I've decided, and this is where we go back to like it's not somebody else's job, but I've decided that we're going to start to create assisted living communities for people on the spectrum. One idea, we all know that these malls are closing across the United States. Yep. Well, there you go. There's the property. There's how we reutilize it, so it's a recyclable thing. And then we're creating, we're not really sure if we're going to stick with Big Fat American. The show is, but Big Fat American Media, I think we should because it's just so funny and people remember it. And it gives me an opportunity to use the American flag as a...
so the B fam.
Right. BFA, right? Yeah, you could do that. So, right. So then what we'll be able to do is we form the company and we're ready to get funding is hire people that have special needs that can't leave their house or the primary caregivers or a combination of both. And many of these people across the country can share their passion for music and art and for, Broadway or whatever it is that they're into. It's sports, right? And they'll be in charge of little online radio stations in their communities. Correct. And they'll build a database and interview people like we're doing here, help distribute podcasts, do the social media, and that creates meaningful jobs for a lot of people across the United States. And my dream is to get, whether it's SAG-AFTRA or one of the other unions that work with entertainment, to be the union that we belong to so that we can all have good benefits.
Right. I love that.
And I think that would, also help keep the benefit pool for the actors solvent for many years because now you've increased your membership. But it's got to be done to scale. So that's my thinking, and that's, Jane and I have been working on those. And that's where your sister and your mother in these communities will be able to have their galleries.
I would love that.
And interact with people across the, across the country, and eventually it's going to be throughout the world.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because my mom's where I get my art, the love of art from.
That's cool.
She's a painter.
And I was just thinking, how could I get a show in New York City?
An art show in New York City? Like an expo?
With my art and their art, because they're all different.
Very different.
Mine doesn't conflict with hers and her, none of them. So it would be like seeing three different artists,
different
points of view.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one of those.
And I might sing in it.
And you might sing.
Yes.
So
Dale will come and maybe host.
And Dale can do the announcing.
He knows how to make an entrance. We know
that. I'll set up all the microphones.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sound guy. Yay. Anyway. So we're gonna make all of that happen.
And by the way, you make excellent coffee. I just have to throw it out.
Thank you. I wake up early in the morning. I go down to Columbia.
Gentlemen, he made the coffee for me right before.
Oh boy, I'm the barista to the Broadway stars. That's awesome. What a great job! All right, let's shift over, and each of you will take a turn telling us a little bit about your history, what you're doing now, maybe some plans you got down the road. So we'll start off with Dale Badway. In a good way. Go for it, Dale.
I mean,
first of all, you're legendary in MLB for your ability to sing the Star-Spangled Banner. You should be doing the national anthem at Yankee Stadium on a regular basis.
I think that's
you
a
should
good
be
idea.
at Citi Field. That'll get people to go to the park because nobody's going right now. L.A. Dodger Stadium, and the reason why I bring that up is because their restaurant food or the stadium food at L.A. off the charts, man.
Really?
Yeah, so we should all do one of those things where we all go to the park. You sing the national anthem, we get in for free, and then they give us free food.
Free food. Yeah. I like free food.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Yes. And we can podcast the whole thing.
Every actor loves free food.
Hey, radio guys are no different. So, Dale, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm an actor, producer, love the Broadway, as Badway on Broadway is my company. On Broadway, I'm currently a producer of Tootsie, the musical. Yes, we are nominated for 11 Tony Awards this Sunday at Radio City Music Hall. That's amazing. And we're very excited. It's a wonderful show, beautifully written. Robert Horn wrote the book, and it is laugh out loud funny. And
hysterical.
I've been around the block with Jane. Anyway, and I was at the show last night, and we're at the Marquee Theater right in Times Square, and it's a big house. And to hear
Huge
house. It's a huge
I played
house.
there. It's huge.
Yes, you did. Yeah, and on your feet. And to hear a collective audience, a collective group of people let go and just unbridled laughter, just real, guttural, just out guffaw, like people just losing their minds laughing. Is so cathartic right now, and it's so some tumultuous times, perhaps.
Yeah, I would agree. We need some laughter. We do.
And,
More laughter.
This is what the world needs now: is love, sweet love, and laughter. And funny story. I love to laugh.
No, I can't tell.
I will tell you a secret. Good friends with John Stamos. And he calls me Laughing Boy.
He does?
So
Well,
that's literal. I've been donned Laughing Boy
I understand
by
that
Uncle Jesse.
John Stamos has an ugly belly button. Did you hear about that one?
I will not comment. That's where we draw.
John Stamos, the actor?
Yeah, it was you know how people get
very poor looking guy. You mean?
Oh yeah, he
Hideous.
looks worse than I do. Hideous.
So when we met, and many years ago, and he said, "Hey, Laughing Boy." So now I've actually become Uncle Laughing Boy. He has a new
That's
baby,
great.
Billy Christopher. So I love to laugh. So to be on a show, to be part of a show that's bringing so much joy to Broadway has been amazing. And we're up for, like I said, it's
11.
We're up for 11 Tony
That
Awards,
is
including
amazing.
Best Musical. And the lead of the show, Santino Fontana,
Who is amazing.
just out unbelievable.
He's so good. The show ended, and I wanted to go take an acting class. He's that good.
And what we brought it up, it's set in today. The movie was
you updated
updated.
yeah.
Which I think was brilliant.
Yes, it's playing very well
Yes.
because instead of a soap opera that Michael Dorsey
Because the famous movie is in the 80s, and soap
Dustin
operas
Hoffman.
were huge.
It was the number 2 movie in 1982, right
Yeah.
behind E.T.
Wow.
So,
I love that movie.
yeah, you can phone home about that.
But one thing I wrote, I don't know Santino personally, but I wrote David Yazbek through Twitter just to congratulate him, and he responded very sweet.
That's always cool when someone responds.
I was like, I was
David
very
Yazbek
starstruck.
wrote the music and the lyrics.
Yes.
And
He's
he
amazing.
won last year for the band's
Yes,
visit,
for
which
the
won
band.
10 Tony Awards. And of course, David,
Which
also,
couldn't be more different.
absolutely. And
Yes.
isn't that amazing?
That's
that
amazing.
Last year, the band's visit swept the Tony Awards with 10 awards, including Best Musical. And now David is represented and
Tootsie.
nominated for Tootsie on a
Which
show
is
that's
amazing.
11 Tony nominations. David also wrote The Full Monty
Yeah,
and
which
Dirty
I love.
Rotten
What-
Scoundrels.
with-
So
those are all
I
great
love-
plays. Full
we're
Monty was
excited,
fantastic.
and we're glad to bring laughter to Broadway. And,
Both Dirty Rotten Scoundrels and Full Monty played in Mexico City.
Wow. Oh, so this is a good question for both of you.
Maybe Tootsie will play in Mexico City.
You never know.
I'm just saying. I'm
Who
throwing
would
it out
play
there.
Tootsie in Mexico
Me, of
City?
course.
You
Who
would
else?
play Tootsie. All right.
ladies and gentlemen, Tootsie, the comedy musical starring Mauricio Martinez.
Tootsie, el musical.
There you go.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
So, Dale, what are some of the other things that you've done? Now, you've sang the Star Spangled Banner.
I could
gotta
talk
tell
forever.
you, you really
if you ask
love it.
me, I could
Yeah.
write a book.
And you should.
I have often walked in. I'm the president of the Theater World Awards.
Bravo!
What
We
are the
just
Theater
went
World
there
Awards, you ask?
literally 2 nights ago.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great,
Yes,
amazing.
We were the Theater World Awards are the oldest awards for Broadway debut. We've been around since 1945. No, I wasn't there the first year.
But if it was, your plastic surgeon is awesome.
Thank you. They call me the Dick Clark of Broadway. So on Monday, June the 3rd, we celebrated the 75th Annual Theater World Awards. And we were fortunate enough, we were at the the legendary Neil Simon Theater, where the Cher Show is currently playing. So it was wonderful. And we honor 6 men and 6 women for outstanding Broadway or off-Broadway debut. And some of the winners. And what we do, it's a wonderful tradition. We have former winners come in and
That is
present
beautiful.
to the new
that is
class.
cool.
I have a question for
Yes,
you
sir.
because they have to be Broadway debuts in opening, like in new shows, right? Or could they
It could be a revival. Yeah,
Or
James
could
Davis
they-
won for Oklahoma.
or
for Will
could they
Parker.
be a Broadway debut, like somebody stepping in a role?
If it's somebody coming into a Santino role or something like
Right.
that, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good. That's good to
Or
know.
if somebody has a understudy, or they were a swing, and it hadn't
amazing.
gone on.
Right.
Like Jeremy Jordan won for Bonnie and Clyde, but he was already in Rock of Ages, but he was a standby. So
Wow.
when he became Clyde,
That's a beautiful award, I think.
Do you guys give awards for the staging, for the set?
It's actors. It's
Oh,
a
actors
celebration
only?
of actors.
Actors,
And
I see.
we started Lifetime Achievement Award, the board of directors, back in 2013 at the 69th annual, and we honored Alan Alda.
One of my
which was
favorites.
just phenomenal. And then since then we had Christopher Plummer,
Wow. Oh,
Cheetah
my gosh.
Rivera, Bernadette
Hills
Peter,
are alive with the
Glenn
sound of
Close, and then
music.
last year Victor Garber. And
All newcomers.
yes, and I was so we had Bernadette Peters present
Oh, wow,
to Victor
cool.
Garber, which was really, really cool. And this year we were honored to have Nathan Lane to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award. So it was wonderful.
That's
I
fantastic.
will reveal that since we were on the set of the Cher show, being the theatrical type, as you may have guessed that I am,
No.
I asked if perhaps I could share Stephanie J. Block, who's also nominated for a Tony for Best Actress in a musical for playing Cher, comes up through the floor. So they have a hydraulic lift.
Oh, I know what you
And
did.
my entrance, I will reveal, I came up through the floor of the Cher show, and my life was complete.
Wearing
That
a
was-
Cher costume.
That's what I was going to ask. What
in
you're
full
wearing?
Bob
That's the
Mackie.
next question.
No, it was extraudinary, and
good for
and
you.
so Nathan Lane roasted me a bit. And he said he didn't know he was going to be introduced by Rip Taylor. So, but I took it as
funny.
a compliment.
Yeah.
You get roasted by Nathan Lane. I also think it
That's
made
right.
it. So.
I think he roasts himself.
Yes.
Probably in his sleep.
Well, you definitely have a very interesting background. What else have you produced on Broadway?
On Broadway,
Just give us a few.
Bonnie and Clyde,
Okay.
The Gershwins, Porgy and Bess, Pippin. We got mad.
Yes,
love
I remember that.
Pippin.
That's
I
good.
love Pippin.
On the Town, An American in Paris, Groundhog Day.
Oh, wow.
and
love that.
Right now
Andy.
we have Tootsie, and it's
Dale, when you have one of your shows that's on Broadway, how many of your quote-unquote friends are hitting you up for tickets? And is that a problem? How does that make you feel, honestly?
makes me feel wonderful. That's where the people want to see your show.
Oh, that's good.
But,
All right, that's a good way of looking
Get
at
them
it.
to buy the tickets. Because how
we
do you pay the
certainly,
actors?
we
and the
certainly
stagehands
like to
and-
get everybody into the show. And I mean, if there's ever, we are graced and blessed that the show is always sold out.
Yeah.
We always have a few houses.
That's right.
available.
Well,
and are you asking for tickets for?
no.
Tootsie?
No.
What
No,
are
I'm
you
kidding.
implying?
I'm kidding.
I would buy them anyway.
Well, we got to get that front row.
Yeah,
so.
my dad was a bus driver, and when I first met my wife before we were married,
Jackie Gleason.
he spoke a lot like Jackie Gleason. He goes,
the
all
room."
right, Emily, if you need a bus ticket, you come down to the Port Authority building. You go up to the ticket counter. You tell him you know Bill Stoker. He always said his last name wrong. It's not Stoker. It's Stecker, right? Tell him you know Bill Stoker and that you need a ticket for the Bayshore. They'll give you the ticket. You give them the money, and you get on the bus. Like, Dad, why are you telling her how to buy a ticket to get aboard the bus? It'd be different if she can go to the ticket counter and say, I'm dating Bill's son. Can I have a ticket? And they give her a free ticket. But this guy, he was just out of it. And one time, he was over on 8th Avenue, and I'm with my wife at the time. She's my girlfriend, and I see a bus, and it's trying to parallel park. And I go, there's only one a-hole in this entire world that would try to pull that stunt. I mean, I didn't even get there. She goes, who's that? I go, that would be my dad. And sure enough, I get there. My dad is parking that Academy bus. You've seen those things. And he got it in. I mean, the guy was an amazing bus driver. You're a dirty man.
I see a show in this.
Yeah, there is. The bus driver.
Yes.
Yeah, so, my life was growing up with a Jackie Gleason type of character with they called him Captain Academy because he would wear his suit and if his bus broke down, he was able to fix it. And he would take some of the Broadway groups on tour. He'd be their tour driver and things like that. So he really got to experience the world, but he would always get it wrong. Like, I'm driving the Guardian Angels tonight. I'm like, Guardian Angels? It's just weird. And I go to my mom, who was live at the time. I go, if he comes back with one of those red berets, I'm just going to, die, okay? So he comes back, and my wife, my mother goes, so, Bill, I thought you were with the Guardian Angels. No. I drove the drove him to Guardian Angels, the church. That's what he meant. I went to Guardian Angels, the church. And then one time we saw, like he was driving around the cast of Grease. He took a group from Greece and was driving them around. So
the show, not the country.
No, he was actually driving the people around from the country and not the show.
From the country.
So we had it all in reverse. So that was like...
So Greece wasn't the word.
No, it was not at all. But the bus drivers are interesting characters. But yeah.
I actually brought you a little gift.
You did.
So to commemorate the 75th Annual Theater World Awards,
oh my God,
we had
on behalf of the radio community, I'd like to say I totally deserve this reward.
Theater World Awards. We have an amazing commemorative lapel pin.
Oh my gosh, that is.
And we'd like to
really, Dale?
To have one of those.
Oh man, that is totally awesome. They're beautiful. I can't really. You thought of me today, or is this just like really?
I did.
Wow. Hey, that's really cool. See, it doesn't make much to make me. It doesn't take much to make me happy. This is really awesome. My wife is going to be so jealous of this. I'm like, I can't. It's for a man's jacket. That's great. Thank you very much,
You're
Dale.
welcome. You're welcome.
So let's go over to Mauricio Martinez.
Yeah.
I got it right again, you mean?
What's that?
Mauricio Martinez?
I call him Eminem.
I can't believe it. Eminem? Oh, I like that. I like that.
I'm actually Eminem.
Eminem.
So tell us about your background and what made you decide to become a Broadway actor.
Well, I'm from Mexico.
Yeah, okay.
I'm trying to go live with these things.
Oh, yeah?
But I don't know how. Oh, maybe...
Facebook Live?
No, Instagram Live.
Oh, okay.
Right? There we go.
When it comes to that kind of stuff...
They have all this technology.
I have to get the kids from home.
Go live. All right. Yeah? Checking connection. Anyway.
That's cool. It doesn't bother me at all. I think this is great.
I have low battery, so my phone might die.
Do you need this?
So.
Look, how about
I think I'm live. Am I live?
You might be.
Oh, I need a charger.
Will that help?
Oh my God, this is fancy.
Yes, it's fancy schmancy.
I have a charger and everything. Am I live? I think. Yeah. Maybe. Hey guys. So.
And you got a charger because.
Well, you got to say my name again because.
Mauricio Martinez.
There you go.
Now, Mauricio Martinez, this studio is like the world's biggest mom's pocketbook. It's got everything in here. You got charge cords. I got first aid stuff, like in case you cut yourself.
He made me coffee.
I got,
great coffee.
Oh, really? And we get those mints that we steal from the diner on the way home. Just put it in the bottle. Yeah, they're not in any wrappers, but okay. So, Mauricio Martinez, why don't you tell us your biography? I call it the rock and roll biography, but it's really your Broadway biography.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, my name, as you say, is Mauricio Martinez. I am from Mexico, from Monterrey, Mexico. I was born and raised there. It's a very Americanized city in Mexico. And I was brought up by a mother who loves movie musicals. Just loves movie musicals, loves Barbra Streisand, Frank Sinatra, Julio Iglesias. And I was brought up, Monterrey is a very Americanized city. Mm-hmm. So I grew up with learning both languages, both English and Spanish, and watching all these fascinating movie musicals that I didn't know that came from a place called Broadway. Uh-huh. So as I grew older and I found out that such place existed, that there was something called Broadway, and it was in New York, and it was fascinating. And all these movies that I watched growing up, like The Sound of Music and Hello, Dolly.
Let me just stop you right there. Sound of Music is my favorite movie.
Oh, it's one of my favorite.
At home, I make everybody call me the captain.
The captain?
Yeah, I got the German look.
Are you a Christopher Plummer?
I'm a Christopher Plummer, yes. Edelweiss, Edelweiss.
There you go.
Every morning you greet me. Clean and bright, soft and white, you look happy to see me. Blossom of snow, may you bloom and grow forever.
You have a pretty voice.
Edelweiss. Thank you.
Very pretty voice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe I should be on Broadway one day.
Maybe you should.
I love that song, Edelweiss. That's one of my favorites. So we were in Salzburg, Austria.
Uh-huh.
We end up on a Panorama Sound of Music bus tour.
Okay.
We got the 3 last tickets with about 30 seconds to go.
Okay.
We go on it. Oh, my gosh. My daughter, she dreamt her whole life to be on that tour. My wife, same thing. We went on the tour. On the way back, I was in tears because we all sang Edelweiss and the hills are alive with the sound of music. And and everybody's singing it, but with so much passion, heart, and soul, you couldn't be anything else but overwhelmed by it. And to see this, and the sights and the sounds and the bells and the smells, it's just one of those things.
You just rhymed the bells and the smells. You should write Hallmark cards.
I'll tell you, if I wrote Hallmark cards, it would be with Dale. We would we'd be in jail if I wrote them with Dale.
Producer of Tootsie, Tony nominated, sitting right here next to me.
Hello,
All
Mauricio Martinez.
right, so you're talking about the musicals, and
so I was fascinated by these musicals, and I wanted to be John Travolta growing up.
Oh, I don't blame you.
I was like, I want to be him. He's so cool. He dances, and they didn't let me see Saturday Night Fever because it was R-rated, but they let me see Grease. So.
You think they made him watch Welcome Back, Kotter?
No, I watched it later. I was like, what is this? But so I fell in love with Grease, and I wanted to be John Travolta and date Olivia Newton-John. I had the biggest crush on her when I was growing up. And then I got into singing classes, singing lessons, voice lessons, like proper. I took it very seriously. I sang at a choir at church in Mexico, and it was a really cool choir because we had a band, a live band. We had a saxophone, electric guitar, a bass, a drummer, and I was a soloist. So I would riff and I would sing. I've always been an admirer of great voices like Whitney Houston, like Barbra Streisand, of course, later down the road, I found Linda Eder, and I love her Broadway music, and George Michael, Seal. So I grew up with a lot of influences, Freddie Mercury.
Oh, my gosh.
And also the Mexican
amazing
singers and the Latin singers, Mark Anthony, and there's the Mexican, folkloric music, like Vicente Fernandez, who's a big Mexican mariachi singer. They have very powerful, almost like operatic sound. So I grew up with all these diverse, very rich, different types of music that formed who I am today,
That's wonderful.
When I was 18, I discovered this school here in New York called AMDA, the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, that back then was just a conservatory at the Ansonia building, which is on 73rd and Broadway. And they accepted 30 students back then. Now it's like a full-on college. I've done some talks with students, and they've invited me, and they've grown so much. I'm very proud of what they do because it's like a big, 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 big school now. They even have an LA campus. It's amazing. But anyway, back in 98, I came to audition, and I was accepted. I got a scholarship. So I moved from Monterrey, Mexico to New York as a 18-year-old. This was 21 years ago.
Right.
And that's where I completely fell in love with Broadway. And I started to train professionally as a triple threat.
Right. Okay. Now we're talking dance, sing, and act. I know what a triple threat is.
The three things. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. The three things. And so I fell in love with it. And life took me back to Mexico.
Okay.
And I started my career over there. And I've starred in 14 musicals.
Wow.
I played the Beast in Beauty and the Beast.
You played the Beast?
I was the Beast in the Mexican production of Disney on Broadway.
That's awesome.
And I played Tony Manero in Saturday Night Fever. That was my first big Broadway.
Became John Travolta.
Yeah,
I did. My dream came true.
So did you channel John Travolta and that character from Saturday Night Fever?
I did. I didn't
Were
copy.
your pants as tight?
Very tight. Actually, the producer who was one of the...
If it were really tight, he'd be soprano. So, no.
One of Mexico's biggest producers back in Mexico. Literally, he lived through the 70s. So he literally called me
and he's still alive.
And he said, you got come here. This is a straight man. And he calls me and he's like, come on stage. Turn around. Let me look at your butt. And I'm like, why? He's like, because those
That
pants.
sounds like Broadway.
Because I wore those pants and they need to be high up in the belly button and the butt has to be really tight. Because that's where disco pants were. So
I would
and
look
my
spectacular
director,
dressed like that. Let me tell you.
I saw that personal
I was
ad.
21 this is back in the day, 22. So I wore them very tight, and
Yeah.
I danced a lot. That was a very highly demanding dance part that I did 17 years ago. I've also played Jesus and Jesus Christ Superstar that I love.
Whoa.
I played.
That's that. Like, there's no bigger role than to play
I
Jesus.
know.
He nailed it.
I know. Oh, well, thank you. I love. Well,
I'm sorry about that.
I got
I'm
nailed.
sorry,
me.
Mom.
They nailed me, but that's another story.
He sang all these
Oh,
songs
right.
at the benefit. So
He
I'm
did. You
telling
sang Jesus
he
Christ.
sang
Well-
from Beauty and the Beast, from Jesus Christ Superstar, all of these songs, and they were amazing.
You
Oh,
know,
thank you.
I don't know if you guys actually understand this, but maybe I'll just put it this way. What you do is not just a profession. What you do is not just acting. What you do is a ministry.
Thank
You're doing
you.
God's work. You're
Oh,
bringing
thank
joy to
Yes.
people. You're getting people out of misery.
Mm-hmm.
You're making people, happy, changing their state of mind. When you do Jesus Christ Superstar, you make them think about God.
Well, I had a friend
Yeah.
who played. I can't say it in English. I think I've never said it in English. Herodes. What's his name? The king.
Oh, Herod.
Herod.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Played Herod?
Herodes, El Rey Herodes. He played it twice in Mexico City.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me once when he knew that I was playing Jesus in the revival years ago. He said, "Your life's about to change." And I was
It
like,
is.
What do you mean? Trust me.
Uh-huh.
When you do this musical, something happens. Whether you believe in it or not, whether you're religious or spiritual or not, when you do this musical, your life will change. And I said, okay. I turned 33 when I played Jesus.
Wow.
That was closing night. I turned 33, and I was bawling, and I had just gone through cancer the first time.
Oh, my gosh.
Because I've survived cancer 4
4
times.
times, you said, yeah.
But so it was very emotional, and to this day, I can't get through Gethsemane without bawling my eyes out. I just had a very important audition that I had needed to sing that song, and I was crying in the middle of the song. I think it makes it believable and maybe even powerful, but it's a hard song to sing because it has a crazy range. But I think to this day, I think it's one of the most beautiful pieces of music that musical theater has, and that Andrew Lloyd Webber, who is a genius, composed. I think it's one of the best.
That's amazing. That's really powerful.
Yes.
I mean, just think about the lives you've touched in so many ways by what you do.
Thank you.
I mean, what's that? And just like Jesus, you brought healing. See, think about that.
Well, music heals. I
It
think.
does.
Music
Absolutely.
heals.
Absolutely.
Theater heals. It
It does.
inspires. It changes lives. I look at the kids nowadays. I'm doing this concert, for example, on July 1st. Broadway sings Ariana Grande,
Oh, wow.
which brings a younger crowd to Broadway. We're doing it at Sony Hall, which is basically a Broadway theater. It's right next to theaters where Hamilton's playing. Like it's on the 40. I can't believe I don't know this, but it's on the 40 something street. 45th Street. There you go. So I'm doing this concert.
46.
Broadway people, Broadway performers, Broadway stars, Broadway actors from Waitress, from Wicked, from Jersey Boys, from On Your Feet. I'm representing On Your Feet. All of us get together from Kinky Boots. We get together and we honor this pop star, Ariana Grande, but we change the style of her songs.
Oh, that's great. So,
So-
I get what you mean. Like
Like,
so
let's
you,
say
you could
there's
say
some-
big band style.
There,
All right, that's
it can
wonderful.
be done in big band. It can be done. I'm doing a special version of a song called "Break Free," which is a very dance, upbeat, like a very dancey song, and I'm gonna turn it into a love ballad, and then it might or might not break into a Latin
Well,
sounding.
I think you just got to go with the
have to buy
flow,
tickets.
right? You got to
But
go
anyway,
with the flow.
that's the power of music, and that's the
Yeah.
power of bringing these new kids, new generations to Broadway, and teaching them the importance of theater, of live art.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's
It's a
not the
beautiful
same
thing.
as film. It's not the same as TV. It's very different.
I could see how the aesthetics and the music and the moment can really make impactful changes
Yeah.
for a lot of people.
Can we also, it's a great place to put this, is that please fund arts and music
I
in our
agree.
schools.
I agree.
Please
I
do
agree.
not cut the funding for arts and music.
Yeah.
It does more than just in so many aspects of life.
I get really upset with.
I'm very passionate about that.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yes, me
I got
too.
goosebumps just saying
Me
that.
too, me
Please do fund arts and music.
I'm with you on that. In that, I get a little bit upset when somehow they find the funds for the football team. Not that there's anything wrong with the football team. It almost sounds like a Seinfeld bit.
Not that
Not there's anything wrong with that. But, you don't have as many kids who are able to be really good at that sport or have the strength or endurance or the physical attributes for that sport. You have more kids that can't. And, as long as there's a balance of it, in other words, you don't have a gigantic football stadium and then your theater is like hardly in existence. There's not many seats or you don't have anything for the program or there's not much money invested in arts and music. I think that's a crime against humanity in many ways. And I think what arts does and what humanities does and literature and music and all of those beautiful things, it feeds your soul.
Absolutely.
And
I agree.
athletics is how you express yourself and get rid of negative energy, but the arts is how you feed yourself, feed your soul. So that's why it's so important. And you guys also do a lot, and this is near and dear to me, the Actors Fund
Yes.
and Broadway Cares.
Equity Fights AIDS.
Yes. Equity Fights
Broadway
AIDS.
Cares.
Equity
Equity
Fights
Fights
AIDS.
AIDS. Yeah.
This is
amazing.
a thing that I would like more people to take a little time, and if you're not affected by poverty or low wages or the lack of food or HIV or AIDS or leukemia, lymphoma, autism, or some disability, really thank God, right? The other thing is you're more blessed than you think. Money cannot buy happiness. Material items, you can't take them with you. I've never seen a U-Haul follow a hearse to the cemetery. Well, there's probably always that one, which is kind of funny. But, specifically, I work with people that live with HIV as a chaplain. And I work as a hospice chaplain. So I see this stuff up and close, right? I understand when you do this kind of work that I do, you understand the dignity of life and how life is sacred, life is precious, and we just don't think about it and we throw it away. We're even cruel to animals. Just think about how we are, cruel to each other, cruel to animals. When we get into wars, we're fighting over a handful of people that's made everybody's life miserable. If we all stood up together and said, you know what, we're not doing it. You do it. We can really make changes. It's not somebody else's job, but let's focus on people living with HIV and AIDS. There's so much stigma that goes attached to it, so much loss that's on top of it. And, well, things are getting better, but don't get to the this cavalier attitude like it's diabetes now. I've seen that. Where now I get young people, newly diagnosed, come into the meeting to get some housing. I sit and I talk to them, and I'm not judgmental. I don't make any statements. I'm just thinking to myself, oh my gosh, about all of the precautions that you can take.
Right.
Like, why would you like what's the matter with you? This is what I'm thinking. It's sad. I don't know the whole thing, but this is an honest thing. I can't believe it. Needless to say, for whatever reason, people still get infected with it. It's not something that you manage like diabetes, even though the drugs are now able to reverse a lot of the effects or give you what's called a zero low viral load or zero virus or undetectable. It's still within your system. It makes your organs age. So you might be on the outside, you might be 30, but on the inside, you might be in your 60s. All right. So it's a devastating thing. And then on top of dealing with the disease and ancillary things that go along with it and the price of medications, there's also the stigma. You lose friends. I know all kinds of stories where someone would go home after being diagnosed and they noticed that their parents threw out the soap and the towels, like they were going to catch it from that. It's ignorance, and you can't really fault somebody because back then there wasn't the knowledge that we have nowadays. And, a lot of people, they feel like they'll never love again. They'll never have a partner. For some people, I can't have children. It runs the gamut, and it's pretty sad. But there's a group of us. We do care and love for people like that find themselves in that situation. But for the grace of God, go I, because any of us could have contracted that, right?
In very various ways.
Right.
In various ways.
Not only,
yeah. I mean, Arthur Ashe got it through transfusion when he got surgery. So, you can get it in various ways. And try not to be judgmental, okay? Like, don't, I guess, make the wrong conclusions with people. This is how we got involved with what's called Harrison House in New Jersey Buddies. My daughter, who we talked about, one day was in the mall, and sometimes in the past for my daughter, it's been kind of tough making friends, and her friends are all older people, like our age. You met Sophie. And she grew up around a lot of rock stars, a lot of very interesting people. So when she would go to school, everybody thought she was making stuff up. That's not, reality. I'm like, well, you don't know our life, so why don't you just leave the kid alone? We do what we do. Right. She did.
Next to rock stars.
Well, around him anyway. Calling the house or going over and meeting them and going backstage, whatever it is, it's part of the job. And it's more like, as you could see, I become friends with people rather easily, So she noticed this guy, his name is Ray, and nobody's going up to the table. They're like treating him like he's a leper. My daughter at 10 years old, Mommy, that's wrong. Goes over, and next thing you know, I'm signed up for the AIDS walk. And this is another sad part about it. I might have donated $500 or $600. I was the number one donor. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, if I'm the number one donor, and I have kind of limited resources, but if I'm the number one donor, we have a problem here. So, and then I realized that more than just giving money, we all have to be involved in one way or another. And I chose the ministry route because I'm also an Orthodox priest. So I always felt that was my ministry. And I speak up for the people that can't speak up for themselves. And then there's also for people on Broadway or in the movies or that are rock stars, people don't treat them like human beings. They treat them like objects. Get a piece of me. Can I have an autograph? Can I have free tickets? I get that all the time.
Oh
you
God,
mind?
sorry.
It's all right. You mind giving me tickets for this, that, the other thing? I'm like, and I'll always go, I'll see what I can do, just instead of being mean about it. But if I say I see what I can do, it means you're not getting them. However, there are some kids that I will go out of my way. I'll make sure they get them. So organizations like Broadway Cares or anything that supports the arts or anything that helps the poor people. Over in the Broadway area, there's St. Malachi's Chapel, where it's the Actors Chapel.
Mm-hmm. I'm a member.
And underneath it,
it's
are you?
beautiful.
Good.
I love it.
It's a beautiful church,
I've been in
right?
It. Yeah.
Yeah, remember Father Baker.
There is the, and Chris Farley used to go there.
Yep.
Yeah. In the basement, they have a food kitchen or a pantry, whatever you call it. The soup kitchen, let's just call it soup kitchen. So for 75 cents, I think it's still at, a person can go there, no questions asked, and get a good hearty meal. They serve breakfast, lunch, and I do believe dinner, so it's 3. And I think this is a good idea. If you ever are in the area and you got an extra 20 in your pocket, go down and pay for 20 people to go eat, right?
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
That's terrific.
So we can all do little things, and these things are very important. And I'd like to also, again, thank you for what you're doing with the leukemia and lymphoma, what you're doing for Broadway Cares. Tell us a little bit about what Broadway Cares does.
Broadway Cares. Well, I've had the privilege of announcing once the show ends, there's 2 times during the year that the Broadway community, not only in New York on Broadway, but also the touring companies. I was in On Your Feet.
Okay.
And when the show ended, it was our responsibility, and we were asked to give a speech about what Broadway Cares is to get the audience members watching the show that night to contribute in any way they can. Give $1, $2, $3, $5, $50, $100, whatever, It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And members of the ensemble usually go out to the doors of the theater with red buckets.
Yeah.
And they collect.
It's 2 6-week campaigns.
Yes.
So
it's
there's
around
one
Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
and
Christmas
in the summer, I
time,
think?
and then Easter.
Yeah.
Bonnet.
Easter, yeah. There's two times.
It's
during
6-week
the year.
periods, right? Go ahead.
And it's beautiful, and they raise millions of dollars. not only for HIV and AIDS, but also people with cancer. They, which I mean, of course, means a great deal to me.
Phyllis Newman, Women's Initiative.
That's good. Women's Initiative that
Yeah.
helps women fighting with cancer, with breast cancer and all types of cancer that women can have. And they do a lot. And every city that we visited on tour, there was associations that Broadway Cares had helped.
That's great.
So our speech would change. We would be like, where are we? Oh, Houston. Oh, well, here we've helped such and such. Or where are we? Oh, in Atlanta. Oh, here we've helped such and such. And I just think that's beautiful. And the audience always gives money. And we give away, not give away, but we, let's say, sell Broadway posters, CDs of the original cast recording of the Broadway production.
Everything autographed.
That's
Autographed
great.
by the cast, playbills, souvenir programs,
I remember
and
one
everything
time.
goes. to
Which,
that.
by the way, makes a great Christmas gift or birthday
yes.
gift or Mother's Day or Father's Day is
course.
coming up around the corner. Is there a Broadway Cares? I'm sure that there's a website. Do you guys know it off the
Yeah,
top of your head?
BCEFA.org.
Do it
are
in
the
your
initials?
announcer voice.
BCEFA.org.
Which are the
Yes,
initials of Broadway
Care.
Care.
Equity Fights AIDS. One time, I just have to tell you, Hugh Jackman was doing The Boy from Oz on Broadway. And as part of the fundraising campaign, he auctioned off the T-shirt that he wore in the show.
Oh, wow.
And he took it off and he autographed it. And we're talking about he just did a whole show.
Right.
So let's say it was
A sweaty shirt.
a moist, a wet T-shirt. A wet T-shirt. And it would go every night for near $10,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So
For a sweaty
T-shirt.
Hugh Jackman shirt. Thank you, Broadway Cares.
Thank you, Broadway Cares. Yeah, Tom Biola is the
And
the
thank you,
exec-
Tide.
Yes, the chief
You probably
executive.
watched it.
And he is just one of the most wonderful, kindest gentlemen I've ever met in my many years here in New York and on Broadway.
And they're amazing.
It's really, it started, they do Broadway Bears, which started out.
Who was started by my
Jerry
dear
Mitchell.
friend Jerry Mitchell.
And
they
what's
started out-
Broadway Bears?
Broadway Bears is this concept that Jerry
kind of a
invented,
burlesque.
which is kind of like a
Wait,
burlesque.
let me imagine.
Where both
Like guys like my size get up
And-
on stage
and
without a
girls.
shirt on.
and girls,
right?
they strip to make money.
Millions
to
of
don't-
dollars, yeah.
But they
Listen,
make
but not
millions.
all the way.
You do not want me to do that. People will not be able to hold down their lunch. That's not a sight anybody needs to see.
But the Actors Fund and
Yeah.
Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS, they help a lot of people in many
Yeah.
different ways. And, if you need help, if you can't pay your rent because
Yeah,
something happened, you're ill,
Yeah.
they will
I've-
help
I've
you.
been-
They will
I've-
help you.
I've been helped by them.
Yeah.
Last year, I was diagnosed for the 4th time with cancer.
what kind of cancer?
Bladder cancer.
Okay.
And I had to leave the tour of On Your Feet, being an equity member, and I had to go back home to Mexico for a couple of months and be treated. So the Actors Fund helped me during those months. So I can attest to it. How important it is.
It is,
And they
it is
do
very
help
important.
out.
And it's like little things go a long way with the Actors Fund. Like you'd be surprised how many people everybody thinks are well-to-do but can't keep the lights on, right? Can't keep the heat on, have no food in the house.
Yeah.
I mean, and then, listen, you try to get help. I mean, who do you trust? So that's the other thing. Like when you want to talk to somebody.
Yeah, of course.
Somebody always wants.
And they have that. You go online,
Yeah.
and the Actors Fund has amazing programs.
That's
of,
right.
Of counseling,
Great resources,
therapy,
yeah.
even they teach you how to deal with
Addiction.
money,
Right.
Addiction.
addiction, depression,
It's all good stuff.
substance abuse, all that.
Absolutely.
That can be. I don't want to say common, but that can be something that does exist and
It's
is
a tough
real
business.
in this
It is a
business.
tough business.
in the world alone, but
You know,
especially in this business.
I want
think.
people to understand. All of us in this room have something in common. Jane, myself, you two guys. Rejection. I don't think people understand how many times we're told, no, we're going to pass. You know how many auditions I've done for voiceovers? My voice is all over certain radio stations in the city. I don't make any extra money doing it, right? Because it's part of my job. But how many times? I've even lost out auditions on when they required a disc jockey to be the voice. I'm like,
Wow.
that's not even what a disc jockey sounds like. Or the play-by-play guy. Oh, how do I lose the play-by-play guy?
Yeah.
There's no method to the madness.
Oh,
so,
no.
if you don't develop a thick shell, because people are going to write about you, they're going to comment about you. There's going to be the trolls that are on social media. There's going to be your competitors who just can't stand you, but you don't know that they can't stand you, and they are like ghosting you. Like they're going online and they're just ripping you to shreds. All of that stuff happens.
Well, I couldn't believe that I was rejected to be Hugh Jackman's stand-in. That's ridiculous.
In what show? Are we talking about a movie? Wolverine? Are we talking about The Music Man? What show are we talking about?
Do you know
specific?
Do you ever watch movies and you're like, oh my gosh, wait a minute, I can't believe that this person got the part. Like, if they ever did, I'm going to just say this, if they ever did The Honeymooners on Broadway, or a Real Honeymooners revival, or a Honeymooners movie, I'm Ralph Cramden.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? I got
I'll take that bus ride.
I know all of the, everything about driving a bus, or, I don't know. You just think there's these roles that you were just made for, right?
Oh, God, yes.
You just
Please revive 9. Please. That's all I'm going to say.
9?
Yes.
What do you, I think we should, what about MASH on Broadway? Can we do that?
That would be interesting.
MASH?
Yeah. I
A
would like
musical or a play? It could be a play. It could be a comedy.
Whatever you guys want to. I just want to be Colonel. I want to be Colonel Henry Blake. I'm perfect for that one. I'm like a horrible commander. But everybody listens to what I tell them to do.
You know what should be revived that I loved, that I saw when I was a student here in the 90s? The Life. It was a great musical.
I'm worn out.
Yeah.
I'm weary. I ain't no
It's
machine.
a great musical.
I like
My
that.
head hurts.
I agree.
My feet hurt.
Yeah.
And everything in between.
I like
look
it.
at him.
I like it.
He's all ready to go for that.
There
so
you
we
go.
should do a revival.
I
What other
might
revivals?
or might not do one of the songs from that show in my 54 Below concert on August 26th.
Ah, all right.
That's
I knew
great.
there was
That's a
back
shameless
around.
plug
gotcha.
I
No,
just
that's
did.
okay.
See
We're
what I
good
did?
with Seamus.
I'm
We'll have to
plugging
have
my
you come
life.
back.
I'm
All right.
getting too old
So
for
we're
life.
we're coming to the end of this
So
segment.
we're doing this. This is a weekly show we're doing? Is that the?
I don't know. We're probably
Broadway
here for a
wanna
month.
do this?
What?
We could do this on a regular basis. It wouldn't bother me.
This is my new job. Move
Yeah.
I
on.
just want one last thing to
Yes.
to button up on my end. And I always like to just share. I got to know Dr. Wayne Dyer, and just one of my phrases: whatever you want to do in this world while we're here, because we're all here for a finite amount of time.
That's
let's
right.
say,
That's
we
right.
don't know.
That's right.
True.
Don't be afraid to follow your passion and your dreams, and don't let anybody tell you can't.
That's right.
And my favorite phrase that I like to think of every morning when I wake up is don't die with your music still inside of you. Whatever
Right.
that music is. It could be football. It could be the arts.
That's right.
It could be radio announcer. It could be a nurse or a teacher. Let your music out. We
Yeah.
got this one shot on this stage, and go for it.
You got one last thing,
That's
Mauricio?
beautiful. Just follow your dreams. Follow your gut.
Okay.
And use your talent, whatever it is. You can be a sculptor. You can be a writer. You can be a poet. You can be an architect.
You'd be a priest?
Of course,
Come
and
on.
that's a talent.
Good job.
That's a god. Yeah, that's
Best
a
job
calling.
ever. Yeah.
I follow my calling.
Mhm.
I share my talent that God and the universe gave me.
Right.
And I'm sharing it at 54 Below.
That's
August
fantastic.
26th.
All right. Do you have a
7 p.m.
website by any chance?
Well, you can follow me on my social media. My Twitter is Martinez Mau, MartinezMau, which is my nickname, Mau. And that's my Instagram as well. My Facebook is Mauricio Martinez Oficial in Spanish.
Okay.
And you can go to 54below.com and purchase the tickets there. It's at 7 p.m., August 26th. It's a Monday, and it's going to be great. I have amazing performers as my guests.
Well, we'll have you
And
back, and we'll talk more about that.
Thank you. I'd
Jay and
love to.
Elissa,
Thank you.
your website, janeelissa.com, and the hatsforhealth.com.
Hatsforhealth.com.
Which goes towards people that are suffering with leukemia and lymphoma. Sorry, I'm starting to lose it. And I'm gonna end the broadcast with this: you don't want to be the richest guy in the cemetery. That makes you a loser.